All right, we are back and we are live, and it is 8:49 a.m. Friday, March 13th, 2026. And yeah, we got a dub today. I'm done for today. Um, Honestly, I think this was a pretty good setup, all things considered. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest as possible. I did kind of oversleep and I am kind of groggy, and I literally woke up like 15 minutes ago. Washed my face, kind of got on the charts. Definitely not should not be doing that. And honestly, I probably should have skipped trading today low key. But that's one thing for sure. But on top of that, right? Yeah, honestly, I generally have a routine going on, but I've been a little bit funny lately, and so yeah, I gotta we gotta be smart about that kind of thing. We shouldn't try to consistently be consistent with the routine and so on and so forth. So honestly, I'm kind of groggy right now. I'm kind of tired, but it is what it is. We still took a double in a day, but just a little thing to keep in mind. But on with that being said, today I took a pretty straightforward trade. So just to quickly like put this into perspective, right? This is what's happening right now, right? Obviously, we're delivering from down here. We expanded. We have a lot of this a lot of this liquidity sitting right above us here, right? So yesterday I got cooked because I'm pretty sure I was looking for longs at open, and what we ended up doing is tracing back down to an unmitigated 4-hour gap, right? Which we never tapped into, right? In this case, we have the same 4-hour gap yet from yesterday, right? That in this case we did not breakthrough, right? We are still respecting this 4-hour gap, even by a little bit, even by just a little bit, right? We have a large wick down here, right? On top of that, we do have this large wick, which sits right at zero point 0.6 to zero point 0.7 the Fibonacci range. Very great additional confluence. On the S&P, though, I would say that technically this does fit within zero point 0.6 to zero point 0.7 of the Fibonacci range, but we do inverse the 4-hour. But I found a lot that sometimes, or I don't know, it's kind of something I'm still backtesting, that sometimes when the same gaps on S&P or Nasdaq are is holding on one and not the other, likelihood is that it is going to still respect that because the one that is kind of holding it up. If that makes some sort of sense. Um, yeah, so because the Nasdaq was still holding this 4-hour gap, I'm like, maybe we're still looking for longs here, right? Right. I was looking for longs because the 4-hour gap was holding, zero point 0.7 of the range was being respected. And also internally, which maybe is something I messed up in yesterday, I didn't put enough emphasis on the 1-hour time frame or maybe 15-minute time frame. So internally, we do obviously get this very nice displacement leg here, right? This doesn't count. We get this nice, very nice displacement leg. Matter of fact, I'm gonna replay it right now so that I can actually mark these out, right? So we have this very nice I'm gonna mark it out here. We have this very nice displacement leg. This is 8 o'clock, by the way, right? The very nice displacement leg. We inverse these gaps right here. We get a CISD up here, right? Just to make sure, right? So we have a 1 hour IFEG form right here, right? We have a 1 hour CISD form right here, and we get this BOS right above us here as well, right? Boom. Right? All these conflicts indicating that it looks like we are beginning to push upwards from the zone. Correct? Now, with that being said, technically because the whole week has been a little bit off, honestly, we could be one or the other. So, because of what happened yesterday, I was a little bit iffy on the bias. So, even though I want to look for longs and that would be my ideal scenario, sells can technically still happen. And so I guess I gotta be. I think I've been marrying my bias a little too much, or I have not been able to find the fine line between marrying a bias and being confident in a bias. Right. Today I was looking to be confident in a long here. Right. Though there are a couple things I could have considered to see us go downwards. Right. So with that being said, what I was looking for at open basically, right? So let me just mark out some things, right? So we do have previously highs, previously low, but we're taking out initially, right? We have this unmitigated 1-hour gap right here, which is what I'm going to zoom in on the 15 minutes to make it look better here. So let's go back to 9:30 open, right? So we have this unmitigated gap right here, right on the S&P. I mean on Nasdaq, right? We have an unmitigated 1-hour gap right here. If we're bullish, I want to see us tap into this gap, and I want to see us retrace, expand upwards if we're bullish. Maybe we could retrace a little bit into the equilibrium, which is fine. Maybe a little down to 0.6 to 0.7 of the range. But this 1 hour or this stack of 1 hours should hold in theory if we are bullish, right? And with that, additionally, right, we do have this equal highs up here with the unmitigated 1 hour right above us as well as as targets for longs, right? So we have liquidity sitting above us, an alignment with the higher time frame bias that we could be aiming for. I really like how we have these equal highs here on MNQ with the unmitigated 1 hour, and on the S&P, we also do have these relative equal highs that we formed earlier on, and I'm pretty sure we do also have an unmitigated 1 hour right above us as well. Actually, no, we have it in intermittent 1 hour up here, right? But we do form kind of close-ish highs here, which I think are going to end up taking out eventually, right? More importantly, I was really focusing on what Nasdaq was doing, right? So let me go back into the 5 minute in this case. Let's go back to New York Open. Boom. So once again, I am looking for longs, and I'm looking for us to hopefully trace down into the unmitigated 1 hour, push up, expand. And honestly, my targets probably be these equal highs or the unmitigated 1 hour gap, right? So market opens, right? Market opens 9:30. We begin to just kind of tweak here a little bit, do our thing. We expand, we kind of chop around a little bit. At around what is this? 9:35, we deliver down into this 1 hour unmitigated 1 hour gap, right? We manipulate down to this unmitigated 1 hour gap. Even though generally speaking, I like to see us tap into maybe like equilibrium or discount of this range in this case from the delivery leg that we have here. There's times that it doesn't have to happen. So that would be more A plus if it had to happen to equilibrium or something of the sort, but it doesn't have to happen to have a good trade, right? So what we end up doing is here I'm observing now we tap into these unmitigated 1 hour, right? We have very obvious equal highs above us. I really want to see us take this out if we really look to take longs, right? So here I then wait and I'm looking. Look, so we have this 1 minute FEG right here, right? Form. And Nasdaq also has an SMT with the unmitigated 1 hour, right? So this is the unmitigated 1 hour gap we have here on the S&P, right? So from this low to this low, there's an SMT with the high time frame PD array. We tap into it / take out the low on the on Nasdaq, but we don't on the S&P. So there's additional confluence for us here, right? So you have this SMT form, right? And obviously we have this obvious swing high here and the intermittent high above us as well as possible targets on the S&P as well. I like how we reject from the zone. I really like this rejection leg here. And on top of that, we expand even higher. So not only do we get a 1 minute IFEG form right here, but we also get a 1 minute CISD form right here. So what I end up doing is, and I end up taking a limit order entry right here at the CISD at the low. And honestly, I was good with just targeting the high time frame equal highs here. Honestly, we could have gone for the 1 hour up here because I'm pretty sure it would have been tapped into anyway, given that it is so close to each other. But just to avoid, maybe a large retracement down, because these are relative, high time frame equal highs, right? So from this to this, really close, and we could see automatic rejection from that level. So, I mean, I could have taken partials, maybe. I was just, just to avoid all that, I'm okay with a nice little 1.26 RR trade here. So this is a 1.26 RR trade. I take a limit order entry here at the CISD. I put my stop loss at the low here, and I aim for here. So at open, I mean, once we close above the CISD, I begin to look for an entry here. We just barely get entry here. We barely wake the CISD, but we do nonetheless. So I do end up getting filled, right? My stop loss once again is down here. Take profit is up here to the equal highs once again. And so I confirm here my entry and I let this run. I go break even at this swing here. This swing high is break even, right? On top of that, I can obviously observe that the S&P is trailing towards this swing high and this 1 hour intermittent high we have earlier on. So as it's doing that, right, I'm even more confident in the fact that this wants to deliver higher. So this is where I go break even at the swing high. I mean, at the swing high, we let this deliver higher, and it does. But we also tap into the unmitigated 1 hour gap right above us. But I'm okay with my little 1.26 RR trade here, and I was done literally within, I don't know, like about 20-25 minutes in the day. No, like 20 minutes into the day. I think it was pretty good. Honestly, I think this is a maybe not A plus, because maybe discount would have been a little bit better, but I think it's pretty a solid A tier trade here. and I think it was good for longs. Once again, my higher time frame buys is longs here as well, and so yeah, that was I think it's a pretty good trade on the day. So I'm making up for yesterday's loss. And now that I think about it, I don't know where I sit in the on this week, because technically speaking, see, I think I took a decent trade sometime this week. I'm just not sure where I stand this week as a whole. Let me actually take a look at this. So go here. So yesterday was the what? Yesterday was the 13th, right? So yeah. So yesterday I took a loss yesterday. I took a loss yesterday. No, today's 13th. So I took a loss yesterday. I took a win on the 11th. So today's the 13th, which is Friday. Yesterday was Thursday. I took a loss, so I make up for that loss yesterday. I took a $800 win on Wednesday. I took a break even trade on Tuesday, and then I took a loss on Monday. So technically, I'm only up about like $300, but technically, I am not at a loss. I'm technically out of profit this whole week, which is better. Which honestly is better to see than taking losses back to back. Like last week was just straight L's. So, but then last week I was a little off and wonky at the end of the day as well. But at least this week I am not at a complete loss. I'm at a small profit nonetheless, but profit nonetheless. With that being said, that's the end of the week. I'm done. Thankfully, I'm done thank God I'm done for the week here. I'm gonna obviously backtest a lot more, focus up a lot more and try to take, uh, and then on entries, on reading the charts. I took a pretty fat L yesterday, but it is what it is. From moving forward, trying to improve little by little. I'll back this a lot this week, and hopefully next week we get a lot better price action and get out of this chop. With that being said, that's it for today, and yeah, big dubs. Deuces.